show. Okay, I think we have sound. I think I'm live. Guys, I just apologize because I'm seriously having some technical difficulties. I thought I was pretty smart about a lot of this, but I'm really not. You can see I was going to do this cute little thing with my hair, but I'm going to do it anyway. Anyways, I am live. I'm Lisa Ackbeer, and I'm your hair doctor, and we're going to speak about our cyber reading on the book, The Black Woman's Guide to Beautiful Hair. So join in, guys. I know that we are late starting, but hopefully you will get the message and get the alert and see that I am now live. Okay, so here we are with the Black Woman's Guide to Beautiful Hair. I have my hair pulled back, a little more light on the screen. I think that this is better. I'm sitting up just a hair higher, which is good. Sweetheart's Day was just recently. I think there's something on my screen. I've got lots of questions. And I want to talk about several things, and I want to make sure that you guys got my make sure you got my email, my alert about the seminar I'm going to do, the live streaming. A live streaming with all the technical difficulties I'm having, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I know I have sound because I see the green dots. Last week I didn't see them. I was live, and it was just a problem. So I'm going to see if I can move the screen over just a little bit so that I can see the chat. So hopefully you guys will be in there on Google Hangouts, and we'll see. I'm going to try to get Joe. I don't know. I'm not. Oopsie. Well, I didn't do that quite right. Okay, but you know what? I'm here. And I want to talk about the book, but I also want to show you my hair and what I'm doing with my hair, because I think this is uber cool, pretty cool. And so let's see here. Basically what I have here is my hair pulled back, and I've got a little piece of hair sticking up for some reason. And it's pulled back, and I'm just going to stretch out my fro. So I'm using my scrunchie, and I pretty much have pulled it back a little bit of my Moisture Plus moisturizer. And so now I'm going to pull it down. And you see, I just used my scrunchie. I just took that off. And I'm just going to have my fro stretched out. And this is a really easy way to stretch out your fro. So I just wanted to see that, let you guys see it, and see how easy it is to stretch it out. So you can put some moisturizer on your hair. And what I used today was the Moisture Plus moisturizer. And that's one of my products. And I just basically put that on, and I had the scrunchie on, and those of you who are just tuning in, I just had one of my little scrunchies, as you see, and I took the scrunchie off. And when you review the video again, you'll be able to see it. And so now I have my fro, and then I can bring it forward, which is pretty cute, and I can do like a fro hawk instead of a faux hawk. I'll just have a full fro with a hawk in the middle and kind of pump it up in the crown. And it's getting pretty long now, so I have to really be creative. I'm not conducting any more studies on my own hair, so I'm able to have length and keep length with fullness. So, that's pretty cool. And I think people need to see their hair doctor with hair. And so all these little studies I conduct to prove theories that I have about why women lose hair, and especially women of color, why women lose hair on a strand level. I try and conduct some of those studies on myself. So that's why you'll see me with all kinds of things going on with my hair and really not obtaining length like I should. So right now you see my fro, and I just basically, like I said, I use the scrunchie, and I just took that scrunchie off. It's just a cloth scrunchie. It's allowed. You just don't want to use anything that's like rubber band or anything like that. A cloth scrunchie, as long as you're using it to pull back, and let's get this, and you're not sleeping in it, you should be fine. Okay, so we're going to get to the book. I also have some questions. I want to answer some of the questions, and I want to talk a little bit about something that I'm going to be doing in Women's Month. Women's Month is in March, and I know if you're watching this video next week, next year, next month, or next whatever, then it may be a little dated, but it will be archived, all of this. So in Women's Month, I'm going to talk about added hair. That's a big deal for me. It's kind of close to my heart because there's so many of my patients that come in that have problems with hair loss because of added hair. So we find weave, beautiful, beautiful weave styles, but then we find beautiful braids and we find beautiful locks, and we find all of that. But what's underneath that added here? And that's what I want to reveal. And the main thing, not just to point fingers and say, hey, these folks are losing hair with it, mainly just say, how can we wear these added hair and how can we enjoy added hair without losing hair? So we're going to get back to the book. We're here on week 4, and I'm sure I have sound because, like I said, the little green dots are going. I wish I could let you guys chat. That would be really super. But again, I'm just not doing as well with that. Let's see. This is if we have the call settings, and I'm trying to see where I can do a chat, but I'm not able to. I can like invite people, but I'm not able to do a chat because I just don't know how. I'm just going to be honest because apparently it is available. Okay, so let's go to the book. Now, some of the things that we talked about last week that where you couldn't hear me, that was terrible. And we talked about the mind. And again, we're on this portion. So resist the temptation to log off, stay logged in. And we want to talk about this, the insanity. And we want to just stop the insanity as it relates to our hair. And I've been surfing on the internet a little bit. I think that's what it's still called, surfing the net, where I've been actually researching. It's kind of one of my R&D times where I just research just to see what everyone's saying about the hair. And this, the big thing that I'm finding is that people are talking about the hair. They want to know what to do. And I look at some of these bloggers and they have a nice following. So most of them not as many as I do, but they have a nice amount of followers. And so they're asking questions, and some of these are just not the correct answer. So when you look for your information, you want to use that information to become educated, of course, but you want to make sure it's the correct information. So if you see something or read something or hear something and it doesn't sound like it's true, or maybe too true to believe, or sound too much to believe, then it's probably not correct. But if it is, or if you think it is, then just email me, Lisa@lisaagbeard.com, and I'll try to answer. Okay, so let's talk. Let's start here. What happened? What has happened here, and what we have never learned, and this is where we stopped off at, and we're on page 59, is what your hair. What we never learned what our hair really needed. And I think a lot of times we know what our hair, how we want to style our hair, but what does our hair and scalp really need? What is it asking us for? What is it saying? Hey, you know what? I need what? My scalp needs what in order to be healthy? My hair needs what in order to be healthy? Again, styles, we can do that. We've got that covered, but care is what this book, Black Woman's Guide to Beautiful Hair, is about, because healthy hair is actually beautiful hair. A healthy scalp is a beautiful scalp. And our thoughts just don't appear out of nowhere. These are thoughts that we've got from one another, from things we hear. I was just speaking of that earlier, things we read. And I know that we can't go back and change a lot of our hair experiences, and I'm not trying to get you to do that. I just want you to think about your hair. I want you to think about how your hair and scalp, how did you get to the point where you had hair and scalp problems? Or if you don't have hair and scalp problems, how do you prevent problems from occurring? And that's what I want you to think about. All right, so what we want to do is we want to expose the past experiences and use those past experiences and find out why we felt and thought a certain way about our hair and scalp. This will allow you to throw out the negative, thus clearing a path and making available space in your mind for the positive. This is pretty deep. Okay, what am I really talking about here? Is this pop psychology? No, it's not at all. This is based on my experience with working with my clients here and scalp over the years. And what I find is that we were raised thinking certain ways about our hair, like shampoos. We were raised believing that we could shampoo once every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. And we thought it was fine. Why? Because our hair is dry. Our hair is, we have kinky hair. Our hairstyle looks good. Why do we need to do all that cleaning? We just don't need it. We were taught that we could do certain things with our hair, and that's not the case. So those are negative things. Those were things that were passed on from generation to generation to generation. So what I want to do when I talk about the positives, and I just want to paraphrase just a little bit so that we don't get bored with my poor reading, because sometimes I'm trying to explain to you and then read and then it just doesn't come off well. But we want to make sure that in our mind we clear out what's wrong, and so we can make available space and we can receive and accept the things that are correct. And that's basically what I want for you. Okay, this will change an automatic habit, because what happens with us, we just have a habit of doing things a certain way, and that's how we do it. We have that habit. So we want to change that. We want to take responsibility. And I'm moving down to page 60. If you're having hair breakage, that hair breakage happened because you let it happen. Wow. Now that's hard to take, isn't it? Either because you did not know any better, or you trusted someone else who didn't know any better. In many cases, sometimes, and even this is we're guilty, we knew better. And we wanted a particular style or look, and then we just let it happen. Let me tell you something, and some experiences that I remember, not just myself personal, but just with patients and clients. Many of them will go into salons, and a lot of everyone has given relaxer really a bad name. Okay, I know that natural beauties, we love natural hair. We love our fro. It has body, it has movement, it's gorgeous. But why do we give relaxers such a bad name? Because when we wore relaxers, we did not do it properly. So now it's a bad name. So relaxers, those of you who are still wearing relaxers, and those of you who are thinking of transitioning, I think you need to make your decision on transitioning based on your desire to do this and look like, have this fro and have this wonderful hair, not because you are afraid of chemicals. Now, when we relax our hair, we need to wait every 10 to 12 weeks, because if we get a relaxer any sooner, we're going to overlap and overprocess. We have to have the two categories of styles, new growth management, and we have to have fresh relaxer styles. But when we have an event and we have relaxers, we are going to get that relaxer if we feel like, oh, my hair, I've got a little new growth, but I have an event coming up, so I need to have my relaxer. So that's a negative thing. We knew better, but we did it anyway. And that's what I'm speaking of. Some of the things you think are harmless. Now, I know this sounds a little harsh, but let's look at how we're to trusting. Okay, how many times have you sat in a stylist chair or picked up a product off a shelf and not fully understand the side effects of the service that your stylist suggested, or of using that product? You just purchased that product. You didn't know. Your stylist may have said something like, let's bond your hair. 27 piece. 27 piece is a big popular thing right now. And maybe by the time some of the folks see in this video, it may not be. But right now it is. That's where you bond the hair to the hair and to the scalp. Now, I've had patients come in and say, well, my stylist said to me that they're not bonding to my scalp. They're bonding it to this adhesive or to this stocking cap. And so I just kind of go along and ask a couple of questions. Well, I say, well, okay, they're not bonding it to your scalp, but what are they bonding it to? Can you take this piece off every night? Do you take it off? They said, no, we don't take it off. If you don't take it off, then does it just kind of fall off? I mean, can you take it off? No, you can't take it off. Well, what is the bonding to? The bonding is to the cap, and the cap is bonded to your scalp or to your hair. So those are things that really don't make sense to you, even though they tell you it's not going to be bonded to your hair and scalp, but it's stuck somewhere. Okay, so those are things you have to pay attention to. So that's just one of the things. There are other things when it comes to these what are these straighteners, keratin treatments, where you put a heated tool on the hair and straighten that hair, and you think it's right. But your stylist, what you have to do is ask your stylist, if I get this keratin treatment, not just how is my hair going to look, but also how is my hair going to be afterwards? Am I going to have healthy hair? Will my hair still be in condition? That's going to be crucial. And that's one of the things. And when we get our added hair, let's go with those things. And I'm going to say this is one of the things I'm going to be talking about in my upcoming webinar and seminar and live audience. One of the things is added hair. We get added hair. We decide, okay, I'm going to get my hair weave. It's going to be gorgeous. I saw this beautiful style, and you saw the video. Those of you who are subscribers, you saw my videos. I sent all these beautiful styles, celebrities, all these folks. But then you have this added hair, and this particular added hair is now causing you to bald, causing your hair to thin. You have locks. Your locks are beautiful expression, but they're pulling your hairline. They're polluted. They're dry rotting. I heard a lady say today on a blog, she said, what are those little white things that are sticking out of my locks? And she said, they look like little balls, white balls all through. And this one particular person said, oh, that's just your hair. But it was hair bulbs. I mean, those are hair bulbs. The hair is naturally shedding. You have locks, so all the bulbs sit in the locks. So they will stick up and stick out. But that's not something she knew. So she just told, oh, that's your hair. And the lady was okay with that because she didn't know any better. So it's like the blind leading the blind. So all I'm saying to you is question everyone. And if it doesn't make sense, then you can look it up or you can email me. I'll be your hair doctor if I'm not already your hair doctor. Okay, it's just small things. I just want us to be empowered to understand more about our hair and our scalp so that we can take care of our hair and scalp. And that's really the biggie for me, just making sure that we're able to do that. As I go through this, you have to ask yourself, some of these things that are told to you, do they really make sense? You really do. And again, we have to trust someone. And you have a stylist. They have a license. You want to trust them. But all I'm saying is stay assertive. Don't be passive. Don't be passive aggressive. Stay assertive. And if you do that, then you're going to find yourself very involved. You're going to have healthy hair, whether it's relaxed or natural. You're going to have it now and for years to come. So I just want you to get involved. So how do we cleanse our mind? How do we make this transition to understanding more about our hair and scalp? Here's a simple list of negative thoughts. And I'm just going to read those to you, and myths that many women, particularly, like I said, this is something for the sisters. So many women, Black women, have about their hair. One of the things is, I have bad hair. No hair is bad. If it's emerging from your scalp, it is good hair. So keep that in mind. My hair just won't grow. If that hair has emerged from your scalp, no matter how short it is, it's growing. It's just not obtaining length. Now, I'm not spinning my words. That hair is growing, but it may be breaking almost as fast as it's growing. So it's not obtaining length. My hair is so dirty, but it grows better when it's dirty. That's a pretty old one, but it's been around. No, nothing grows well in dirt but plants. Okay, my hairstyle only looks good when it is time to shampoo. That's another one. No, that is not true. I understand that the hairstyle seems to be nice and fluffy or whatever, but no. Only thing that grows well in dirt is our plants. If I shampoo my hair too often, my hair will fall out. Well, okay, that's the thing. One of the things that we hold dear to us as Black women. Sometimes we believe that we cannot shampoo our hair because it will be too dry. Well, you have to look at what you're using. Our hair and scalp has a pH between 4.5 and 5.5. So when you shampoo, you want a clarifier. All shampoos have cleansing agents in it. Some call them detergents. So many people want no poo, means rinsing conditioner through, but they're not cleaning, so their conditioner's not doing well, and they're not getting all those benefits. So shampooing is important, but you want to look at the pH of the shampoo between 4.5 to 5.5. The job of a shampoo is to clean, period, point blank, end of discussion. It's not to condition your hair. You don't want any hydrating shampoos. You want cleansing, clarifying shampoos. I have one on my website at lisaakbeard.com, and you will absolutely love it. Okay. Braids and dreadlocks and locks make my hair grow faster. No, it doesn't. When braids, your hair is braided, your hair is covered, and the locks, they're completely covered. So everything that grows from your scalp stays in that braid. And everything that grows from your scalp stays in the lock. That's why you have this tremendous amount of length. You have this hair with locks in many cases. But what I'm finding with a lot of patients that come in, traction in the crown, front hairline, locks are thinning. I want to deal with all of that because locks are beautiful expressions. They don't make your hair grow faster. The hair grows from the scalp. It obtains length from the shaft. Because you are not taking those locks down or your braids down, as long as it's up, it's going to have length because all the hair with the locks that are shedding, that's staying within that lock. All the hair in the braids is staying within that braid. And when you take the braid down, that's why sometimes you see a tremendous amount of hair because you have your shedded hair. And if you haven't cared for your braids properly, you'll have breakage as well. Okay, now here's another one. These are all, if you just joined in, these are a sample of negative thoughts and myths that many Black women believe. And this is on page 64. Okay, number 7. My hair breaks because of nerve problem. Okay, breakage, there's 2 really ways to, if you're going to lose hair, you're going to lose it. You're going to break hair or you're going to shed hair. And the shedding could be shedding excessively. The breakage could be layer peeling, clear breaks, strand separating, so thinning of strand. Now, if you're breaking, that is a part of your hair shaft. That's not inside your body. That's the dead keratinized cells. That's a part of your shaft. So if those hairs are breaking, then that's breaking because of something that happened to the hair shaft, the strand itself. So breaking does not come from nerves, stress, diet. Breakage does not. Indirectly, it could come from dehydration because of something going on within the body systems, causing the hair to dry out. If you don't balance that on the external end, then you can break. But no, nerves does not cause that problem. Number 8, my hair breaks because I need a retouch. Those of you who are wearing relaxers, the line of difference or line of demarcation is the battle zone. So you have to hydrate that line. What happens when your hair breaks, when you need a quote unquote perm or retouch, what happens, your hair is battling and the elasticity required to support that line is not there. So as long as that hair is hydrated and conditioned, then you are able to manage that new growth. So it's new growth management. And then wear curlier styles. That's why I said you need the 2 categories of styles. So your hair is only breaking because you're not managing your new growth. Because if you get the relaxer too often, you're going to overlap and overprocess. So we don't want to do that either. Okay, number 9. Okay, and we're going a little bit over only because I started late. I'm guilty. So we're going a little over. And I just, I'm going to pick up on number 9 because I want to get some of these questions in. We had some questions about locks, and there were some who were watching about locks. So I really want that to get these questions in. And I have, let's do that one because I have these written down. What did she mention? if you have locks, you're going to be tender-headed. Someone wanted to know why you're tender-headed with locks. You're tender-headed with locks or any braids or anything that's on the scalp or with new growth. Because what happens when your scalp is exposed or the actual follicle is pulled in any way, then those receptors within the dermis are going to respond and it's going to feel tender. So you can itch, you can feel tender, it could just go on and on. So the reason why you're tender, and if you have locks, you need to make sure that you're not letting them become long and heavy and hanging. So you want to pull them up. You want to also make sure that they're not tightened and pulling your scalp, because that could cause the tenderness. You also want to make sure your scalp is not dehydrating, because that could cause tenderness as well. So keep in mind, with new growth, if your new growth begins to what I call webbing, that means the hair on the right side of the part crosses over to the hair on the left side of the part and it starts to pull, that could cause tenderness. With braids, if it's too much pulling, that could cause tenderness as well. And it could cause traction or balding. So be careful. You don't have to be tender with your locks. The other question was, someone asked about their locks with ends. Like she had waist length locks and she wanted to know why her ends were so dry and brittle. So that's because the locks on the ends are the oldest area on your head. The ends are the oldest. They've been on, if you've had locks for 12 years, then your locks, your ends are at least that long, that year old or that old. And if they're that old, then they have wear and tear. So you have to hydrate them daily and you have to seal that hydration because they're going to be very porous. And if they're very porous, you need to seal the hydration. The other thing you need to keep in mind, ladies with locks, you need to keep in mind that you have to clean your locks. Because when you don't clean your locks, you'll start to say, well, I have low porosity. So if you have low porosity, oh, I have a problem with my locks. Well, it's the buildup. It's the negative buildup that's on the surface of your locks that's causing that problem. So you need to clarify your locks, deep condition your locks, and you need to make sure that when you do that, you have your leave-in products, hydrate your ends if they're that old and their waist length, and then put oil on the ends to seal. Not a lot, just a small amount. Okay? So those were the other questions. And there was a question about clarifying, but we kind of talked about that. And I'm just going to see if it's possible, if I could go in, because you can still see me. I'm going to go in and look at my, because I think I have a comment here. And I have it said, are you tired of finding we care? Okay. Okay, I'm not sure what that is, but let's go to some of the previous ones, and let's take a look. These are the ones I got this week. Someone said, okay, I had a problem with sound last week, and I think they were asking me about sound. Let's see, oopsie, who? Okay, guys, let's make sure. Oopsie, I think I did the wrong thing there. I'm still learning the technology, guys. It's so crazy because I've been doing this for so long. Okay, let's go back to did I cut us off? Make sure you guys are still there. I think you are. Okay, we are just about to cut out, but I wanted to try and get a couple of more questions in. And if you are able to chat, I'm going to go on my page and see if I can see you and then see if I can get some of your questions in. So if you have some questions for me, because I was late starting, I'll stay on an extra few minutes and then answer any questions that you may have. So let's see if I can go to my page and okay. And then you can chat right there on the page and ask me a question. and I will go right to you. Right. Okay. So get your questions ready because I am on my way. See if we can go right on. Okay, upload. All right, so do I have you as yourself? Okay. Let's go here. Okay, so now if you have a question for me, then if you could put that question right below. Oopsie. Let's go to the live now. Hello. Oopsie. And I'm just going to turn. Okay, my volume. Okay, if you have a question for me, just go on and you know what? This is not working that well, so you guys will have to forgive me because I have every screen that's around opening up. And you know what? This is not working that well, so you guys will have to forgive me because I have every screen that's around opening up. Okay, let's see if I have anything below. So I don't have anything below. Okay. Okay, well, guys, what I'm going to do is with all that background noise, I'm going to, oh, here we go. It said, I just discovered your videos yesterday, and I'm learning so much from you. And let's see if I turn this off for a second. I wonder if you can still hear me, but hopefully you can. It says that let's move that up. Okay. It says that I discovered your videos yesterday and I'm learning so much about the hair and scalp. Thank you for teaching me and informing me. Oh, you're so welcome. It said, I can hear you this week. Yay, yippee. Thank you. And it says, what are your suggestions for dryness and breakage in the crown? Okay, so I want to make sure that you can hear me now. If you can't hear me, please say we cannot hear you. Okay, somebody, whoever's still on, please answer that. So Belinda had a question about, dryness. So if you can't hear me, can you hear me? Just want to make sure. Can I hold my fingers up here? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Okay, thank you. Okay, all right. So it says, what are your suggestions for dryness and breakage in the crown area? Thank you so much. All right, so my suggestion for dryness in the crown area, first we want to look at our hair and determine whether or not the hair itself is dry. And if the hair is dry, we want to think about hydrating. But before we do that, we want to make sure that we are clarifying that area. If it's the scalp that's dry in the crown area, we want to clarify, so we want to clean it, and then we want to use oils to seal in hydration, because our epidermis can hold up to 20% of its weight in moisture. So if it can hold up to 20% of its weight in moisture, all we have to do is seal in the hydration. So all we need is the oil. I have a product called Oil Sheen in a Jar, which is really good. It's densely packed, but it's really, if you take the product and you just kind of rub it in your hand, you can just lay it across the scalp and it's fine. If you have a favorite oil, as long as it's skin friendly, then it'll work as well. But you want to seal in after shampooing. And if you have dry hair, you want to hydrate every day. Now, we're not speaking of hydration just like a regular moisturizer. I'm speaking of hydration, like a stronger hematrant, which are moisture binding agents. So we're thinking, like I have a product called Hydration on my website. And that particular product is wonderful for extremely dry hair. And that's a good one. So that was a great question. So hopefully, did that help? Did that help a lot, Belinda? Were you able to? And one of the things I'm going to do, I think is really cool, is I want to make sure that I get a phone where I can actually have you guys call in, and we're going to do some cool stuff. You guys you have stuck with me forever. So please hang out with me while I'm learning a lot of this technology, because initially it seemed like our first few weeks I did really well, and now I'm not doing so well. So I don't really know what that's about. But does anyone else have a question for me? I want to just kind of jump in there. Okay, it says yes. That is the only dry area in my hair. Yeah. Does it itch, Belinda? I do have that question coming back. And if it itches, we need to talk about that as well. Because sometimes with dryness and itch, then that says that there's something, possibility in the mouth of the follicle that could be causing that problem. So we want to just kind of find out that. So if you're there, if it has an itch as well, then I'd like to hear about that. Okay, all right. So let's see, no itching, just the hair is very dry. Yeah, if you would do that, if you will make sure you're clarifying that you're using a shampoo that's the pH of your hair and scalp, and make sure you're doing that at least once a week, at least. Then you want to make sure that you're hydrating every day. You're just using your forefinger and thumb, and you're sliding down the shaft with that hydration, and that is going to definitely help. You're going to be amazed. It'll just change it. That could be an area either because of the exposure of, say, overheated dryers. It's just without, that's why it would be wonderful if we could talk, because I can give you all those comeback questions, and then I can find out more about your hair. But this is okay. But if you hydrate it every day, you won't have that problem. And what I mean is, you want to be very, very intentional, very specific with your hydration. You want to make sure that you are hydrating on the hair shaft, and you're getting your fingers and thumb and working your fingers and thumb down that hair shaft. Okay? All right. Any other questions anyone have? Any other questions? You know, I feel like I've just had a really boring video today, video chat, and I feel like I need to go on and on because I have not done really well with this. But we're going to be out of the area on the scalp, I mean on the mind pretty soon, and we're going to start talking about the scalp and hair. And that's going to really be where I really feel comfortable with this. Wait a minute, somebody else has something. They said, thank you, I'm definitely going to try that. Great. And then now we have Megan that says, when touching my scalp, it sometimes feels as if I can find a hair bulb that is 30 to 50% exposed from the scalp. This goes to long strands and also new growths. What causes this? Now, let's make sure I understand your question, Megan. Or is that Mega Eva? Oh, sorry, dear. Okay, so when touching my scalp, it sometimes feels as if I can feel a hair bulb that is 30 to 50% exposed from the scalp. Okay, hair bulbs are a part of the natural shedding process. So if we feel a hair bulb, then that hair bulb is coming, it's on its way to shedding away. Now, I'm not so sure you're feeling a hair bulb. I think that you may possibly be feeling just maybe a little area within the hair shaft that is a tear, or there's an enlarged cortex could be there, which means that the strand itself is damaged for some reason. And that spot, I would love for you to send me some strand samples if you have them. You said I can feel a hair bulb that is 30 to 50% exposed from the scalp. See, I'm not really sure what that means. Do you mean that that's just hanging from the mouth of the follicle, or do you mean that it's down the stretch shaft? The hair right at the scalp is normal, but it's down. You feel this little bulb type knot in the shaft. I'm just not sure. Okay. And you said this, wait a minute, you said this goes to long strands and also new growths. What causes this? Okay, okay, I get it. I think that what you're saying is that the strands that are your strands, you're filling these little nodule areas and they're down the shaft. Those are called knotted layers. Knotted layers are areas of the shaft where the strand has torn, and that particular area, once it's torn, then that will cause that strand, that part of that layer to wrap around a layer over the top, wrap around the actual shaft. And when it wraps around the shaft, because it's torn and it's not completely broken, then it will cause those little knotted areas down your hair shaft. That can be with relaxed hair, that can be with natural hair, it doesn't matter. You can have those little areas. Now, that's caused from, the reason why that happens is because your hair is overexposed to something. In most cases, we find that when you do a lot of detangling, you have those because you get lots of tears with detangling. If you're detangling and you're detangling with feeling a lot of tug of war, then you'll get it. Some other reasons, when your hair is extremely dehydrated, the strand will begin to separate. Then you'll find that. The best way to prevent that is to start, number one, deep conditioning. And you need to deep condition at least once a week. And when you deep condition once a week, then you're going to get the cuticle layers to become more compact over the cortex, so there's less chances of you tearing the hair. Also, when you detangle, make sure you're not detangling with a comb. Make sure you're detangling with product. Okay? Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that when you put products on your hair, you put it right in the core of the tangle. I have a product called Hydrating Detangling Souffle. And Hydrating Detangling Souffle will literally melt the tangles. You put one drop on top of it, and then basically that souffle melts the tangle. You take your forefinger and thumb, squeeze through that area, and slide it straight down. And when you do that, you're going to have that tangle be released. And that way you don't get those tears in the strand, so you don't get that knotted layers. Okay? All righty. All right. Did that help, Mega Eva? 1996. I hope that answer helped. Okay. All right. Do I have any other questions for anyone? Okay, guys, you know that I've been on longer. I want you to please email me questions because you know what? Before, when I did my cyber reading, and I'm just going to see, she said, yes, it really helped. Yes, thank God. Before, when I did my cyber reading, one of the things that I did, I really answered a lot of the questions prior to it. So I just want to make sure that whatever I do, it really helps a lot. Okay, I had a question on high porosity and low porosity. And I don't know if you guys remember this, this video that I did on high porosity and low porosity. And so does anyone have any questions on high porosity or low porosity? Oopsie, I think I just clicked off of you guys. And let's go back to live. There we are. Okay, and let's see, does anyone, she said, yes, that really helped. Or does anyone have any questions on anything? Did all of you guys, I hope that you got my video. I'm sure you did if you're a subscriber, talking about the event that I'm going to have here on March the 14th. I'm pretty excited about it. Of course, since I can see my hair, I have to fluff. I got one little piece here that's just kind of sticking up. But anyways, I'm going to talk about added hair and some of the danger to added hair. If there's anyone out there wearing weave or locks or braids or any added hair, if you have a question, please, please, please ask away. And make sure you tell your friends about this event because it's going to be, it's going to be a free event. And it's going to really be something that's going to benefit a lot of folks. So I hope that you will tune in. It's going to be March the 14th. And I'm pretty excited about this event because it is going to benefit a lot of folks. All right, so I think I'm out, guys. I think this is the end of my video. Another question. Is there any damage to the hair and scalp when wearing front lace wigs? This is an outstanding question. I really good. I'm so glad to be on chat, but I can't. I have this delayed thing with my hair and it's bugging the heck out of me. But okay, let's go back and let's talk about this. Let's talk about front lace wigs. Front lace wigs are really a problem when they're bonded to the hairline, because front lace wigs, they tend to rip the skin when you, now let's two things, because nowadays people are not really using the bonding as much with front lace wigs. But with front lace wigs, if you, one way, if you're using the adhesive, when it's removed, and it's, you have this remover, I understand, but when it's removed, it can remove the cornea layer, the top of the epidermis. So you have to be really careful with that. If you're using a front lace wig and it's not, you don't have the bonding, then it's not as dangerous, but you have to be careful about what's rubbing the skin. And you have to be really careful about whether or not that wig band, or if there's a band in it, or combs, if that's pulling the hairline. So what I'm going to recommend, we have something called treatment caps. And what I'm going to recommend is that you get a treatment cap, and they're not the stocking caps. You get a treatment cap, like a turban type, and you can email me, lisa@lisaackberry.com, and I can send you one. Just send me your information and I'll send you one. And you can find them at beauty supply stores. They just look like little beanies, and we call them treatment caps, but you use under the wigs. If you use it under your front lace wig and your wig has clips in it instead of the combs, then the front lace wig is not that bad. If you send our wig, we have a individual on our team that we call it customizing the wigs. We can help you with that as well. But let me just tell you, you can do this yourself. You can take your wig, go to the fabric store, and you can get some fabric, like a satin or some kind of stretch. The best one is like the swimsuit fabric, and get the more shinier ones, and just sew it on the inside of your wig. Get black, and you can do that because it'll stretch. I call it moisture lock, and I use it on a lot of things because it keeps moisture on the hair. Then you can get some clips, and they're the little clips. They snap back and forth, but they have the rubber tips on them. And I wish I could just pull some up and let you see it online, but I don't know if they sell them. But try to look for clips, rubber tips, and sew those inside, so that what happens, that little rubber comb slides into your hair, and you snap it down and it holds your wig on. If that's the case, front lace wigs will not be a problem. The only problem is when the adhesive is there, or if that is rubbing that hairline or pulling the hairline. So that's pretty cool. So you will be fine with your wigs. Wigs are not a problem. Wigs are only a problem if you don't take care of your scalp and hair underneath them. Okay. All righty. Hope that helps you, Mega Eva 1996. If there are no other questions, I know that it's beyond my time, and I think I'm going to check out. But I'm going to be a lot more organized next week, and I'm going to make sure that I have my chat room up like I have it today. I'm so excited about being able to do that. And I'm just going to get a little bit more educated on this thing. But I just want to tell you guys this week, some of the takeaway, because we're going to end right now in a few minutes. The takeaway is to remember, when working with your hair, ask the complete questions and wait for complete answers with your stylist. Also, when working with your hair, make sure you really look at what you want, the look you want, and let's find a safe way to get to that look. If you have a dry hair, like Belinda mentioned earlier, then let's address that dryness. Don't let it stay dry, because the hair will dehydrate and break. It can be dry, but it can dehydrate. And when it dehydrates, the strands are going to separate. It's going to break. if you want to wear a wig is not a problem at all. If a wig if you want to wear a wig, just wear it safely and you'll be fine. There's just so many wonderful questions that we could ask. And we've done this before, but this new live chatting, I feel so out of like a fish out of water or something. I don't know what's happening with me, but the main thing is I want to serve you. I'm here to serve you. So I'm Lisa Ackberry, and I'm your hair doctor. And I'm going to see you next week right here on Ask the Hair Doctor. I'll see you then. So you guys have a blessed, wonderful day. I love you. I love you. To God be the glory in Jesus. And I'll see you right here next week on Ask the Hair Doctor with my live streaming on my video chat. All right. Thanks so much. Have a great day.